Shalom, friends. Shalom. Rabbi Elliot Schomburg here, Rabbi in Metuchen, New Jersey. Today is February 15th, 2023, and you are now participating in a short video on coffee, kugel, and commandments. This short video texts what we learn about coffee and is a window to learn about Judaism. Today, our topic is agricultural sustainability. Let me read to you a very brief definition of agricultural sustainability. Sustainable agriculture is about meeting the needs of the present without sacrificing those of tomorrow. It's farming that is environmentally sound, socially responsible, and profitable for farmers. For the last 150 years, there has been a tension in Latin America on this topic of individual land ownership and collective ownership of the land. The indigenous Indian population held all property in common. So they all farmed the land, but they all owned it collectively, and they felt responsible for all the land. The European colonizers came and they said land must have specific boundaries, and they pushed for private ownership of land, what they called land reform. All kinds of controversies broke out, all kinds of economic and political tension was created in Latin America on the question of who owned the land. What does Judaism have to say about this issue? So in the Talmud, there's a discussion in which the following story is told. There was a young man who owned a piece of property, and he was working his land very industriously, and he came across some stones out there on his property. He took his stones and he threw them from his property over the boundary line into the common land. An elderly man was walking by, saw this, and he yelled at the young man and said, "What are you doing? How can you be throwing stones from the common property to the private land?" And the young man looked at him all confused and said, "What are you talking about, old man? This is my land. I'm tossing it over to the common ground." A few years later, the young man got into some economic difficulty. He accumulated some debts. He had to sell his property. And he went for a walk in that other property, which had back then was the common ground, where he had thrown his stones. And he stumbled on them and he fell down. And then he said, "How wise was that elderly man who spoke to me years ago and said that my private property is the common property and the common property is private property." Dear friends, what's the message here? We are responsible for our own land, of course, but also for the common ground. We are responsible for all of it in order for it to continue to be sustainable from generation to generation. So please take your cup of coffee and say together with me, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehakol niyeh bidbaro. Enjoy your coffee. Have a Java day.